Revivalists, how's it going? Simon here from CD Revival, and today I'm going to do my long-awaited, well for me anyway, well it's taken a long time to do, my Motorhead ranking video. So I'm going to rank all 22 albums from the band Motorhead, formed in 1975. They've had two main lineups. There's a three-piece one with obviously both of them have had Lemmy in them. First iteration had Fast Eddie Clarke on guitar and Filthy Animal Taylor on drums, and the second longest sort of iteration, or the most recent one before Lemmy obviously unfortunately died, is Lemmy and Phil Campbell and Mickey D on drums. In between they've had Wurzel on guitar, Brian Robertson on guitar for one album, Pete Gill on drums for one album, Tommy Aldridge did a bit of drumming on an album, Phil was in and out, but we'll go to that as we go through the albums. 22 albums, a lot to get through. No bad albums to be honest with you, but there are albums which are slightly less good than others. There's a lot in the middle to be honest with you that are all pretty decent, with a few good standout tracks and the rest are decent tracks, and the top sort of few are like outstanding in my opinion. So not really a lot between all of them. That's why it's taken a long time to work out my ranking. I'm sure everyone's will change, everyone's will be different, so but we'll try and get through them and not take too long about it, because my last, the Kiss video, which had a similar sort of amount of albums, took a long time. We'll try and get through it a little bit more concisely this time. Anyway, so to start off with, in my number 22 pick is their 16th album from 2002, which is Hammered, produced by the band themselves. This is a 2-disc edition which has got a few live tracks on it as well. This is the classic second lineup of Mickey D, Phil Campbell, Lemmy. This one's got a bonus CD on it, which has got the games theme, which is the wrestler Triple H, and a couple of live tracks, Shoot in the Back, Ramones, and a preview of the Motorhead DVD. This album, not awful, but it is very, there's no amazing tracks on it, I don't think. I think it's all sort of pretty middle of the road fare, nothing bad, nothing great. Probably the standout tracks for me are things like Brave New World, Voices from the War, Kill the World's not bad, Red Raw is a really good fast one. The last track, Serial Killer, is just kind of like a, recital really. It's sort of a poem. It's the last track, you can skip that, which I generally do. But yeah, Hammered, not awful, but very middle of the road, nothing amazing about it, I don't think. I think it's, it's an okay album. It's very, just middle of the road. So that's 22. 21, Snakebite Love, which is the 14th album from 1998. Once again, the trio of D, Lemmy and Campbell. This one's produced by Howard Benson, who did quite a lot of, he did a few albums for them in this sort of period. Another one which there's not many real standout tracks on there. Dogs of War, probably one of the better tracks. Assassin as well, I do like. There's a few rock and rolly stuff like Don't Lie to Me on there as well. But yeah, another one which is, it's okay. It doesn't really, it's not offensively bad or not fantastically good. It's just sort of middle of the road, with nothing brilliant. It's quite heavy in places, but it's okay. Anyway, that's number 21. Number 20, I have got March or Die, which is their 10th album from 1992, produced by Peter Selley. This is as a 4-piece, so this is D, Campbell, Wurzel and Lemmy. D's on the back. He plays the drums on Hellraiser. Filthy Animal plays the guitar, the drums on No More Mr. Nice Guy. I Ain't No Nice Guy. And Tommy Aldridge plays the drums on the rest of the album. I Ain't No Nice Guy is a duet with Ozzy. It's got Slash on guitar as well. It's a very, this is quite a commercial album. This is by far their most commercial album. It's got a cover of Cat Scratch Fever, the Ted Nugent song, version of Hellraiser, which was on No More Tears, the Ozzy album, which is way better on the Ozzy album, to be honest. he yeah, just sings it a lot better. You can tell it's been written for him, and Lemmy's range doesn't really do it full justice. Yeah, very commercial. I think for a Motorhead album, it doesn't really hit the mark. So a lot of people would have this quite low down, but yeah, 1992's March or Die, the last one with any real involvement of Phil Taylor on it as well. So that's my number 20. Number 19, Motorizer, similar to Hammered, this one, in the way that it's got no real mega standout tracks. It's quite a heavy album. It's from 2008, it's their 19th album, produced by Cameron Webb, who did pretty much all of their last albums from Inferno onwards. Run Around Man's not bad. Teach You How to Sing the Blues is okay. When the Eagle Screams, that's quite a good track. English Rose I really like. That's quite a good rock and roll traditional one, which I do really like. 1,000 Names of God, that's a good track as well. The trio of D, Campbell, Lemmy on this one. 19th album, not bad, nothing outstanding once again. These are all like the sort of, now we're getting into the decent albums, but you know, not really outstanding. Number 18, Bad Magic, last album, 22nd album. Lemmy died 4 months after this came out in 2015. Cameron Webb once again on production. This is the Eco book or whatever it's called, which is quite nice. Picked this up fairly recently actually. So yeah, it comes in book form, which I do enjoy. Got a few like that actually, which you'll see coming up. Yeah, last album. Some good tracks on it. Thunder and Lightning's good. The Devil. Choking on Your Screams. When Sky Comes Looking for You, that's pretty good. Cover of Sympathy for the Devil, which is not awful to be honest, but obviously not as good as the Stones original. Nice embossed cover though, quite, yeah, nice album. A good way to go out, but yeah, not their strongest album. Lemmy's voice, I think it still sounds pretty okay considering he was near the end at that time. But yeah, good album. Bad Magic, that's my number 18. My number 17, the only album that I don't own of theirs, which is their first album, Motorhead, from 1977, produced by Speedy Keen. I have got the single actually, the 7-inch single, on an orange vinyl of the song Motorhead, with City Kids on the B-side, and did listen to that a lot back in the day. So yeah, that's a good track. Iron Horse is on there, that's a really cool one. Vibrator, which is a really punky sounding track, that's pretty good. Lost Johnny, it's got some good stuff on it to be honest with you. Cover of Train Kept Rolling. Yeah, very basic. Obviously I think it was recorded in like 2 or 3 days. They went and they originally were told to go and release their, like, record a single, and they recorded the whole album. They had their like live set down and pretty much just bashed through it, taking lots of speed probably at the time to, you know, bang through that. So that's my number 17, their first album, Motorhead. Number 16, 20th album, World Is Yours, from 2010, produced by Cameron Webb once again. Another steady album. This is like the classic rock edition, so it comes in once again like a book form, which is quite nice. What have we got on here? I Know How to Die, really good track. Get Back in Line's good. Waiting for the Snakes, good. Brotherhood of Man, that's a really heavy, like almost Orgasmatron-esque sort of song. Some good stuff on there. Decent album. My number 15 is Aftershock, which is their penultimate album, the 21st album from 2013. Cameron Webb produced once again. Another one from the classic rock book series. So it comes like that. Good album, way better than Bad Magic I think. Heartbreak is good, Coup de Grace is good. It's got things like Dust and Glass, which is an interesting track as well. Death Machine's really cool. Keep Your Powder Dry. He could just write a catchy song. All of their albums, there's good stuff on there. They're all. I've listened to a lot of Motorhead in the last few weeks because the early albums I was very, very familiar with. The later albums not so much. So I have kind of listened to them a lot, and Yeah, very underrated rather, should I say, songwriter Lemmy. Could write a real good catchy tune, and even though they've got their style and they do kind of stick with it, it's yeah, they've done some really good. He's done some really good, written some really good songs, and a fair few of them are on here. Going to Mexico, another really good one. Excellent album, Aftershock. Really good. Do you enjoy that one? Number 14, Overnight Sensation, which is their 13th album from '96. Howard Benson produced this one. Some good stuff on here. It's all written in a big circle, so yeah. Things like Crazy Like a Fox is good. Civil War, the opener's really cool. Don't Believe a Word, the title track, really good. Love Can't Buy You Money, that's a really good one. Broken, probably my favourite one on here. Murder Show. So yeah, really good stuff on here. This is the first one as a three-piece after Words All Left. So first one with the classic latter era trio. Number 13 is the last one with Fast Eddie Clarke, and that's Iron Fist, their 5th album from 1982. Fast Eddie actually produced this one. I think they had a few problems with producers wanting too much money. They'd had a bit of success with No Sleep Till Hammersmith, and producers were then asking for like silly money to produce their albums. So Phil Taylor suggested that Eddie Clarke did it, and I mean, it's not great production, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's horrific. Lemmy doesn't rate it, or didn't rate it particularly highly production wise. Iron Fist is a classic opening track. Heart of Stone's really cool. America's really cool. Speed Freak's good. Shut It Down. Don't Let Them Grind You Down. Don't Need Religion. So there's some good classic tracks on here. So it is a letdown a little bit by the production, but I don't think it's horrific. It's not a complete deal breaker. This is not the most recent reissue of it, but it's got a few bonus tracks on it, like Remember Me I'm Gone, which was the B-side of Iron Fist, which I did have on red vinyl on 70 single. So yeah, decent stuff actually. Good, I say, title track really excellent on Iron Fist. So that's my number 13. So that was the last with the original trio of Eddie Clarke, Filthy Animal, and Lemmy. Number 12. Getting into some really good albums now. Number 12's Kiss of Death, their 18th album from 2006. Cameron Webb once again produced. Yeah, really nice one, this one. This is the bonus limited edition. It's got a cover of Whiplash, the Metallica track on there as well. Sucker, excellent. One Night Stand, Devil I Know, Trigger, Under the Gun. The first 5 tracks are amazing, to be honest with you. Really does not let up. Then you've got God Was Never On Your Side, which is a ballad, and I'm not a great fan of that. Living in the Past is a good track. Christine I really like, good rock and roll-esque sort of track, really catchy. Sword of Glory, not too bad. It does, the second half is not as good as the first. Kingdom of the Worm is quite a heavy track, but it's not one of their greatest, I don't think. Certainly not on the album. Going Down as well, another good one. But yeah, well worth checking out, Kiss of Death. Really did enjoy that one. Yeah, from 2006. That's my number 12. Number 11, I have got Rock and Roll from 1987. It's their 8th album, produced by Guy Bidmead. The track Eat the Rich was from the film Eat the Rich, which was like a comic strip presents movie with like yeah, the comic strip presents guys, Peter Richardson, etc. Kind of a comical film. Lemmy, Filthy Animal, Wurzel and Phil Campbell on this one. This is the return of Phil Campbell after he left for the first time. Some good tracks on here. Rock and Roll, the title track, really good. Eat the Rich is excellent. Stone Deaf in the USA I like. Traitor, Dogs, all excellent. This one's got Just Because You Got the Power as a bonus track on it, which is the Eat the Rich 12-inch B-side, which is a 7-minute or so track, and that's really cool as well. But yeah, Rock and Roll, really good, fun album, excellent. Number 10, I've got Bomber, which is their 3rd album from 1979, the 2nd album that they released in 1979. So probably rushed it out, I would say. I think they have said that themselves. They wish they'd played the songs live a bit more and they would have been a bit better. But still got some great tracks on it. Dead Men Tell No Tales, Lawman, Stone Dead Forever, excellent as well. And Bomber, the title track, is really, really cool. Definitely, if it's sandwiched between Overkill and Ace of Spades, which are both superb albums, so it doesn't quite live up to either of those. Lawman, things like that. They're all good tracks, but it's not quite as good as some of their other earlier albums. So that's my number 10. Number 9, we are Motorhead, the 15th album from 2000. Produced by Bob Kulick in the main, who did some work with Kiss, and obviously he's the brother of Bruce from Kiss. Excellent album, really heavy album, and with some really good tracks on it. See Me Burning, excellent track to start off with. Slow Dance, Stay Out of Jail, all excellent. Out to Lunch, really like that one. It's got a cover of God Save the Queen by the Sex Pistols song, which is not, once again, too bad. It's okay. Stage Fright, Crash and Burn, that's a really good track. And the title track, We Are Motorhead, really superb as well, really heavy track. Brilliant album, really. We Are Motorhead, really do enjoy that one a lot. Number 8, I have got 1916. This is the last full album that Phil Taylor played on. Howard Benson produced this one. No, he didn't. Peter Solly produced this one. Ed Stasium started it, was fired apparently on, I think, the track Going to Brazil. He'd added stuff which Lemmy didn't even approve of, and when he played it back he had like claves and stuff like that on there which had been added, and so they fired him, and Peter Solly did the production. And a good production on this one as well. This is the 4-piece with Filthy, Phil Campbell and Wurzel. The original version of Ramones on here, which is really cool. One Sing the Blues, I'm So Bad Baby I Don't Care, No Voices in the Sky, Going to Brazil, Nightmare the Dream Sign, which is an interesting track as well. Some really good stuff on here. Shut You Down, the title track 1916. It's a bit of a love-hate. I've got it sort of in the top end of the middle, I suppose, and it's a bit of a grower, so it's a decent album, but yeah, not what I would consider top tier, and not like bottom either. Anyway, number 8, 1916 from 1991. Number 7, I have got now. From here on, they're all stellar albums as far as I'm concerned. They're all amazing albums. Bastards at number 7. This is their 11th album, Howard Benson produced. This is from 1993. The 4-piece, Lemmy, Wurzel, Phil and Mickey D. On Your Feet or On Your Knees, it's got Burner on it. Burner's probably one of my favourite tracks of theirs, an absolute stormer of a track. Death or Glory, it's really quite a heavy album, this one. Iron the Sword, Born to Raise Hell. It's got some other really good stuff on here. We Bring the Shake, Devils is really cool. Was originally going to be called Devils apparently, but originally called Bastards. The first Motorhead album without a title track on it, if you know what I mean. So there's no track called that, but yeah, there is a track called Devils, which was the original title for it. The ballad Don't Let Daddy Kiss Me, which I'm not overly keen on. I can see the sort of what he's tried to do there, but at the same time, this is the man that wrote Jailbait, so anyway, superb album, really heavy, and it has got Burner on there, which is probably one of the best tracks they've done, and yeah, just absolutely superb. So that's my number 7 from 1993. Number 6, Sacrifice from 1995 is their 12th album, Howard Benson produced once again. Absolutely heavy as hell album. Last album with Wurzel on it. Apparently he was, on his way out by this time, but title track, Mickey D absolutely drums his ass off on this one. It's a really excellent drum performance by him. Probably their heaviest album. The title track is just absolute mayhem. Sex and Death, Over Your Shoulder, War for War, Dog Faced Boy, Order / Fade to Black, that's amazing. All Gone to Hell, just really heavy album all the way through, start to finish. If you like heavy Motorhead, this is, you know, definitely worth checking out. Really amazing album. Number 5, I have got their second album, Overkill, from 1979, produced by Jimmy Miller. Thought this might be my number 1, and if you've got it as your number 1, I understand, because it is a classic with some of their best tracks on it, things like Overkill, Stay Clean, Damage Case, Metropolis, No Class. It's like a greatest hits almost. Limb from Limbs, decent, but yeah, it's some of the tracks on it are not quite. It's not like a all the way through amazing. I Won't Pay Your Price, I'll Be Your Sister. Not filler, but you know, it's a number 5. It's still an excellent album, but not as good, I think, as some of the others. But if you've got any of these from sort of Bastards onwards, if you've got any of them as your number 1, then you can, you know, I think you're justified in having them. This one included, really excellent album, compared to their first album as well, really set the tone, and yeah, rightly regarded as an absolute classic. So that's my number 5, Overkill from 79. Number 4, I have got Inferno from 2004. It's their 17th album, Cameron Webb produced, and this absolutely, yeah, broken. Obviously, it's not actually broken, but just anyway, 3-piece. Just such a solid album from start to finish. Really amazing album. Terminal Show, Killers, In the Name of Tragedy, Suicide's amazing, Life's a Bitch, Down on Me, In the Black, In the Year of the Wolf, Keys to the Kingdom. Just start to finish, heavy but good songs, really catchy stuff. Yeah, just I love this album a lot, and to have it at number 4 is a bit like, really, only number 4, because it is so good. But that's the quality of their discography. So yeah, this one, number 4 from 2004, and that's Inferno, and it's an absolute stunner. You need this in your collection. Number 3, I have got the classic Ace of Spades from 1980. That's their 4th album. Vic Mailer produced. A little bit of a cliche on this one. Obviously, Ace of Spades is by far their most famous track, and you know, everyone's heard it a million times. You don't really need to hear it again. But you know, if you remember back to when you first heard it, it's, you know, a great track basically, and rightly their most famous one. So you've got that. You've got Love Me Like a Reptile. You've got Shoot You in the Back, We Are the Road Crew, Fire, Jailbait, Chase Is Better Than the Catch. You've got The Hammer as well. It's just such a, you know, there's so many good tracks on it. It's you know, phenomenal album really. This is got the bonus tracks of Please Don't Touch an Emergency, which they did with Girl School as well, which I remember from the time. Iconic cover as well. Just a classic, amazing album, Ace of Spades, and probably the best production of all of their earlier ones as well. Yeah, definitely well worth, you know, could be number 1, but still I've got it at number 3. My number 2, I have got Another Perfect Day, which is their 6th album from 1983. Tony Platt produced this one. This is the double disc version, with a live disc on there as well. Very different album, this one. Brian Robertson on guitar, took over from Fast Eddie Clarke, who either left or was fired depending on who you listen to. One of the first Motorhead albums I heard, this one, because this one I think was the current album. When I first got into Motorhead, when I first got into metal, there was Iron Maiden, AC/DC, Ozzy, Motorhead were pretty much the 4 bands that I first got into, and I think this was their current album. And also they'd released the No Remorse compilation, which my mate of mine had, and he had the vinyl with the leather sleeve, which was, you know, pretty immense as well. So I haven't actually got that on CD, which I do need to get, but anyway, this was the current album, and he had this as well, I think on cassette, which, you know, back in the day you would record it. So this was pretty much the first Motorhead album that I got into. Very melodic, got a lot of guitar solos on it from Robertson. Apparently he wasn't the easiest person to get along with, and did wear sort of shiny green shorts on stage, which Lemmy hated. Phil Taylor got on really well with him, which I think was one of the reasons why he left after this album as well. But yeah, some classic stuff on here. Back at the Funny Farm, Shine, One Track Mind, the title track. I Got Mine as well, which is super melodic. Tales of Glory, Die You Bastard. Just a really cool, different for them, but melodic, and yeah, really excellent album. Very different, but still my number 2. Some people really don't like it, and some people will have it as their number 1. For me, yeah, number 2. There's an album I do prefer to this, but this is superb, well worth a listen. Number 1, probably worked it out already. Orgasmatron from 1986, 7th album. Bill Laswell produced it. Pete Gill plays the drums on this. He was the drummer in Saxon prior to this one, and I love this album. I think this is start to finish absolute bangers all the way through. Death Forever, really super heavy. Nothing Up My Sleeve, Ate My Crime, Claw, Mean Machine, super heavy. Built for Speed, catchy, super heavy as well. Riding with the Driver, that one absolutely bangs. Dr. Rock, that's super catchy and heavy. And you've got the title track, Orgasmatron. For me, there's not a weak track on here. I think it's one of their heaviest albums, and also one of the best written songs. Obviously, with Phil and Wurzel joining the band as well, there was that sort of added impetus of them coming in and writing loads of cool new stuff. And I think I think it's so underrated. I think it's just an amazing album, as far as like writing goes, heaviness goes. Production, apparently the original version sounded better, and then they took it off to New York to be like mixed and what have you, and it came back worse according to the band, but it still sounds pretty cool to me, and that's my number 1, and for good reason. It's an absolutely superb album, and just so consistent all the way through, and and probably one of the best covers as well, although I think all of their covers are pretty good. I think they do a good album cover. A couple of extra bits as well that I've got. On Parole, which is basically the debut album but recorded earlier, with different personnel. A few different bits on there as well. It's got like the track On Parole. It has got City Kids on there as well, which was the B-side of Motorhead, and What Fools as well. It's got a couple of I quite like this one though, to be fair. I think it's got a different sound on it, and I do enjoy it. I've got this one, which is the best of Motorhead, which is pretty cool. 2 CDs, although they're both like that for some reason. But yeah, it's got some good stuff on here. It has got, it's not too much that's not on any albums, I don't think. Motorhead performed by Hawkwind is on here. A couple of live bits. Bomber performed by Girl School as well. Yeah, a couple of other live bits as well. But yeah, quite cool. Why not? And also the classic No Sleep Till Hammersmith live album. It's the 2 CD complete edition, although they've done a like 4 CD box set, I think, of it since then. But yeah, this one, obviously, I used to have this on tape actually, back in the day, which I think I bought in Spain. It was a bit of a snide version, but anyway, this one's got like extra tracks that weren't on the original, so things like Shoot You in the Back, Over the Top, Too Late, and it's also got No Sleep outtakes on it as well of some of the tracks. So yeah, it's got you know, still like 16-page booklet, etc., etc. But yeah, it's the 20th anniversary edition, that one. But yeah, an absolute classic live album, which, you know, if you've got no other Motorhead albums, then that one will do. So yeah, that was my Motorhead ranking. Didn't necessarily intend to do all 22 albums, but I did, so there we go. It's taken me quite a while to piece that together, so I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what your favourites are. You don't necessarily need to do a full 22 ranking, because, you know, it is a bit of a mission. But yeah, let me know what your favourites are, and if there's anything you think, oh, you know, that I've ranked too low, or anything that I've ranked too high, leave your comments below. And if you like my video, press like. If you want to see more stuff, then subscribe by pressing the subscribe button. So it does mean a lot to me, and I appreciate that a lot. And I will catch you all next time. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Cheers.